Welcome to This Week in Tiger Athletics. I'm your host, Haley White, and joining me is FHSU women's soccer coach, Blake Reynolds, and senior midfielder, Vianney Sanchez. Vianney scored 2 goals against CSU Pueblo on Sunday in a match that ended in a 2-2 tie. She also scored a last-minute goal to tie the game. She redshirted in 2016 after the injury early in the season, and she played 20 matches last year, starting in 15. First off, Coach, this weekend might not have seemed successful to some people, but going on the road and forcing a tie against a previously undefeated team in CSU Pueblo and taking an early lead against a number 17 team in UC Colorado Springs shows how the team is building so far early in the season.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Haley. Good weekend. We want to test ourselves in the second weekend of the non-conference season before we get into conference foes, and scheduling Colorado Springs that went to the Final Four last year, and then Pueblo, who played in their conference championship game against them. I knew it was going to be a really big test for our young team, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew that we were going to learn a lot about ourselves. So we took a lot of pressure from Colorado Springs, took the lead early in the second half, and we had some injuries where key defenders went out and we couldn't quite hold the lead, but it was impressive just to get to that point where we were there. And I hope in the future that we'll be able to hold those types of leads. And then coming back Sunday was an opportunity for a big response. We always talk about never dropping 2 in a row. It's your response to a loss is really important, and I was really pleased with what I saw in terms of the way that we grinded it out. We didn't play great, but we were able to get a result, and that was important.
Yes, and your team showed a lot of heart against Colorado Springs, a nationally semifinalist from a year ago, especially with the amount of injuries you guys had facing that match.
Yeah, we were already down our co-captain with Taryn Schnell, who's the starting right defender for us. We were out her backup, so we were starting our backup left defender at right defender, and then one of our center backs went out hurt, and then 10 minutes later our other center back went out hurt, and I'm kind of looking down the bench like, oh my gosh, who's next? But they really held strong, and was really impressed because this isn't football, this isn't basketball. I don't get to call a timeout and try to figure out what to do. I've got to do it on the fly. And oftentimes the person that's going in to take the spot of an injured player, I get a chance to give them a 5-second, here's what you need to do and good luck. But they did a really good job for just about the entire game.
And then you had a bounce back against a solid CSU Pueblo team that hadn't lost or tied yet this year, and you guys forced a draw late in the match. How key was that late goal by Vianney to knock the game in a 2-2 tie?
Yeah, it was huge. The thing about Pueblo is they have 11 seniors, and I think they started 7 of them. So they're a really experienced team where we're kind of the opposite right now. So relying on leadership from V and a couple of the other upperclassmen is really important. And that goal that she scored was crucial because it looked like in the last minute of the game we were probably going to drop a game that we didn't think we should lose. So it was big for us to not come home 0-2 and to get 2 decent results on the road against good teams. You can't really argue with that. We certainly would like to have won one of them, but coming back with at least a result on Sunday wasn't a bad thing at all.
And you've also had some solid play from Megan Neifel earlier this year. Talk about her impact for the team between the posts.
Yeah, we needed Megan to step up this year, and she had 2 really good games this weekend. It's her first year as a starter, and she was a little bit rocky the opening weekend, had a couple mistakes, but she really responded well this weekend. I mean, she was under a lot of pressure in both games and came up with some great saves. So I think she'll take a lot of confidence out of this weekend, and that's going to be important because she's going to have a back line that has a lot of question marks in front of her moving forward. So having a goalkeeper that feels good about herself is a big thing for the team in general. And
your team does have pressure just regarding their age. I mean, you guys have a large portion of your team is underclassmen. So are you pleased with the progression those players have had so far in the season?
I'm pleased with their work rate and them trying to learn everything as much as they can. They're trying to soak things up. I've got good leaders like this one here that really help with the culture, not just on the field, but how you carry yourself off the field. all of those things are really important for the new players to learn. And it's not just the freshmen, but the transfers as well. So, we rely on a lot of these young girls to play big minutes. I think we've had 3 freshmen typically starting, which is a lot. And we have another 4 or 5 or 6 that are playing big minutes off the bench. So we're relying a lot on them early, and I kind of knew that's the way it was going to be this year. So it's really important that we have great seniors like we do and juniors that help show the younger ones how to do things right.
And this is your second year as head coach. Do you feel the players have a better idea of what to expect from you and how you are going to run the program?
Yeah, so last year's senior class was fantastic. They bought in right away. I came in and I said, you guys are successful already. I don't need to change a lot of what you're doing, but I am going to bring my own personality to this, and I can help you be successful in your last year, and it doesn't have to be a traumatic experience with your coach leaving, which it often is. And they were great, and V's class as well now. With the new seniors have helped a lot, and they were just really welcoming from day one, because it's hard to replace somebody who's done really well here. And so I'm very thankful to that they made my transition very smooth.
How have you seen players buy into the program since you've been here?
Just positivity, coming every day and asking questions about, the way that we do things a little bit different. And they've wanted to learn, and when I kind of told them about the way that I wanted to play, they were excited about it. And they said, yeah, that sounds great. I really want to do that. And so just being open-minded to new ideas, and they study film a lot, which is probably a first for any of the teams I've coached, is they really like to watch film and do it on their own. So they're always trying to learn and get better, and they push themselves to kind of learn this new system, and they've done it really quick.
You've had a tough schedule in the first 4 matches this year, but now you finally get a chance to play at home. And it's also the start of conference play. How important is Friday night's match against Emporia State?
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. We get into conference, and this is one of the best conferences in the nation already, and I think it's gotten better. So we'll see an Emporia State team that's hot. They're 3-1 to start the year. It's a big rivalry. So these next, 4 games are the teams that are in our pod, so we play them twice. And as rivalry games, they're going to be highly contested. And so we're looking forward to being at home, playing in front of our own fans on the field that we're familiar with training on, sleeping in our own bed, all of those things. But yeah, we know it's not going to get any easier. It's the emotion part is going to be higher now that we're facing rivals.
And to follow Friday's game, you have a contest against Nebraska Kearney on Sunday. You have to feel that if you are able to get the 2 wins this weekend, it's a great start to conference play.
Yeah, so these next 3 games are against conference teams, but they don't count in the conference standings yet. So they're kind of the end of our non-conference. They count on the record, but not on the conference one. So then the following Sunday against Emporia will be the first one that goes on the conference standings. So these next 3 games are kind of weird, because they're regular season games, but they're almost like an opportunity to scout each other before you really play each other for real in conference. So it's a little bit different. I've never seen that before until I got here last year. They're games you want to win, but then you've got to turn around and play these teams again for real in the conference. So that's a little bit different, but looking forward to it for sure.
What is going to be the key to surviving such a tough conference schedule that features a defending national champion in Central Missouri?
2 things, probably. First, we need to get healthy. We've taken a rash of injuries at the start of the year that I've never seen before, and doing this for a long time. And then consistency. We're going to grow more as a team this year than probably any team I've ever had because of our youth. And I don't think we've scratched the surface on how good this team can be. I think that we're going to grow and grow and grow. The key is going to be we can't wait too long. If we wait too long, then we're not going to be able to catch up. So these next 3 games will be important to see if we can gel and find some consistency with our attack and with our defense, so that the following weekend when we start conference for real, that we're ready to go and firing on all cylinders, so that we can start conference off right. Because like you said, Central Missouri's waiting, Central Oklahoma looks incredible. Northeastern State is undefeated, so it's a really challenging conference schedule ahead.
And BNA, talking about these tough matchups, How important was it to get at least one draw Sunday against CSU Pueblo before the start of conference play?
I think it was super important. I think going into starting conference and going into these next couple weekends, it's important that we aren't going in, losing 2 games back to back. It gives us a little bit more confidence in ourselves, and I think it'll carry us further.
You were responsible for 2 goals against the Thunderwolves. Was it just one of those games where the goal looked a little bit bigger than what it actually is?
I think I really just happened to be in the right place in the right time and kind of just capitalized on the opportunities. The first goal kind of just popped out to me, and I scored it. And then the second goal, Darby played a beautiful ball and kind of just set it up perfectly for me. Just put my head on it.
What was going through your mind late in the game as you guys trailed 2-1 with the clock winding down?
I was really tired and I was really hot, and I knew I didn't want to lose, no matter what, I just didn't want to lose. And I knew just going into overtime would be better than just losing, so I just really wanted to score. And so when Darby had that, I knew Darby would hit in a perfect ball because Darby always does. And so I just really wanted to get to the end of it, and so it was exciting to score that last goal.
And you saw time last year after being forced to take a medical red shirt the year prior. How nice was it to be back on the field last season and playing again?
It was great. I feel like whenever you get injured and you're not able to play and you have to watch, it really makes you appreciate, the sport that you play, and it makes you, remember how much you love it. And because sometimes it gets really hard and sometimes you hate it, but at the end of the day, you love it. And so it was sad having to watch it, the whole season, but it was awesome to get to play again.
So what was your mindset coming into this season?
I was just super excited. I knew, we had 14 new players coming in, and so I was excited about all the team bonding and just getting to know everyone and getting to learn, 14 new personalities and 14 new players on the field. So coming in, I was just super pumped about it. And just getting to play and seeing how everyone plays together. It's been challenging, but it's been so fun.
And we spoke on how young of a team you are a part of. How important is it for you as a senior to step up into that leadership role?
I would say it's really important, and I feel like me, as well as the other upperclassmen, we've done a good job of kind of leading and guiding all of the new players into, how we do things here with Blake and how, our culture and how we play. And it was really important because a lot of them, you can really tell a lot of them look up to us. And so it's really important that we, show them how we do things here.
How did you find your way to Fort Hays while growing up in Texas?
I just was playing in a tournament in Dallas, and Coach Shaw actually recruited me, sent me an email, and I was like, Hays, Kansas? Where is this? And then I just, came on a visit, and I really loved the team, and I loved the facilities here, so I just decided to come here.
What is your major?
I'm an accounting major.
How difficult is it to juggle your academics with your athletics, especially being on the road so often?
I would say it's really difficult. My freshman year was a struggle for me, but the more you do it, the better you become at it. And I would say I've definitely mastered, sometimes I've mastered what it means to have time management, and I try not to procrastinate. So I've gotten better at it.
And she's in the master's program now, so she finished her undergraduate last year.
So graduate student.
Wow, that's great. How nice is it going to be to finally be playing some games at home?
Oh, I'm so excited. I feel like there's just something special about playing on your own field, with your team, with your fans in the stands. I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you, Vianney, for joining me. And good luck to your conference play as it is soon ahead.
Thank you.
When we return, we will break down this week's schedule in athletics.
I think there's a perception out there that web and mobile application development is this field where you sit behind a computer all day and code. And that's not it at all, right? And there's even a perception out there that geek is bad. But I think students should embrace their inner geek. We don't code all day. We look at issues, we look at problems, and try to figure out the pieces of the puzzle and how to put them together to build things.
I was able to learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP, just kind of the whole 9 yards with that. So I really enjoyed the full program that they offered here.
Anything that you're interested in, the field of web and mobile application development, there's a value to. There's nothing like what we have in the informatics department. If you choose to take everything in the buffet that we offer, you'll be very well prepared for any type of job opportunity that's out there.
Back to This Week in Tiger Athletics. Joining me now is FHSU's SID, Ryan Prickett. He's going to help me recap last week's results and break down this week in athletics. So the men's soccer team defeated Metro State on Sunday to improve to a 3-1 overall on the season.
Yeah, that was a good win for them to take out Metro State here at home, especially after just a couple of days earlier back on, it was Thursday evening, they played a neutral site match against Midwestern State, who is the number 2 team in the country. And, you know, coming off that win against number 3 Rockhurst, that was a big result for them, and to see where they were at, and then to have to come and play the number 2 team in the country right after that, that's a tall task. But they were right in that thing. They were tied 1-1, but unfortunately, Midwestern State got a goal kind of later in that match, I think about 12 minutes to go. And unfortunately, that was all she wrote on that one, and they fell 2-1. But it was good to get back home and play a decent team from a tough conference. The RMAC conference is always pretty tough in men's soccer. So that was a good result for them. Got out of the gates quick and got out to a 4-0 lead before some circumstances later in the game. We were playing some backups and stuff and just probably looking at some different things on the field. And so that's just how that came out to be 4-2. But it was a good week for the men's soccer team to play that upper level competition and then get that win against Metro here at home.
And talk about the matchup they have coming up this Thursday as they take on the number 23 Point Loma.
Yeah, it's like they don't get to rest right now. It's like ranked team after ranked team. It's just rapid fire. So yeah, they head to San Diego, California. So nice trip for the men this week. A little bit different than being in Hayes, but we'll be out on the West Coast. So they're going to play Point Loma, who is a nationally ranked team, on Thursday, number 23, and then they're also going to go play Biola University a couple of days later out there, so they just wanted to make sure they get a couple more matches out there that are Division II competition and do that on the road. And that's typically a really good conference out there on the West Coast. They're going to play some tough competition, so anybody you play from out there is usually pretty decent. So hopefully that just keeps bolstering the strength of schedule, and that builds a bigger case for them to get into the NCAA tournament at the end of the year. So.
And on the women's side, the Tigers settled with a draw against CSU Pueblo, as we just spoke on with Coach. They have a big weekend ahead as they take on Emporia State and Nebraska Kearney at home. Talk about those matchups.
Yeah, the home matchups this weekend, like I think Coach said earlier on when you were talking with him, is it's weird, these 3 matches we play against conference teams here before we get into conference play, and they're part of what's called like our pod within the conference. So there's every I think there's like groups of 4 in the MIAA. So we're partnered with Washburn, Emporia, and Nebraska Kearney. So the pod plays non-conference games against each other, and then we finally go into the 11-game conference schedule. So really what those are, they're big matches as far as still counting towards like your in-region record and building your case for the postseason and things like that. So really that's what they're playing for this week. Is you can't take them lightly that, yeah, they're not technically an MIAA game, but it could help your case later down the road.
Right, so. Yeah. And the volleyball team couldn't catch a break on Saturday in either match of the MIAA GAC crossover.
Yeah, we fortunately were able to get one win down there on Friday against East Central University, but there were a bunch of other opponents down there from the GAC that we just came up short against. Saturday was rather frustrating because they were in every set and were right there on the brink. I believe even in a couple of the sets. In their first match of the day, they had an opportunity to win those sets. We had set point and then didn't get it and then gave up 2 straight points to fall. And so even though the result was 3-0 and it looks like, well, maybe we struggled, we were right in those matches. It was just unfortunate that, you know, the ball bounced the way that it did, and we just got to get better at closing out sets right now. And I think, you know, Jessica's, our head coach, Jessica Wood-Adkins, she's figuring out right now who's going to be those people to step up in those key moments, and hopefully she can figure that out with all these games we've played non-conference as we get into the tough MIAA schedule that's coming right up. So.
Right, yeah, that ends their non-conference play, and they went with a 6-6 overall record.
Yes.
However, like you said, MIAA play begins the 14th when they take on Washburn. Talk about that match.
Yeah, Washburn, that's a tough one right out of the gates. Even though Washburn's not in the top 25 right now, they're 12-0, and they have been a staple in the top 25 for years. So I'm kind of scratching my head why they're not back in there yet. But they're always going to be a good program under head coach Chris Herron. He's had a really strong program there for years. So that's a very tough test right out of the gates. So, but just here a couple of years ago, when Washburn was ranked in the top 10, we went over to their building and beat them. So, I mean, it's one of those things that they still have to show up. I know they've got, you know, that big record, and we're only 6-6 right now, but you know, it's one of those things that they still have to show up and prove that, you know, they're the better team. And I think that we've got a group of athletes that can go over there and make some noise and give them some fits. So we'll see how that turns out. But they're also going to play Emporia this weekend on the road too. And so we'll see how that matchup goes as well. Emporia is not quite as strong as what Washburn's been in years past, but again, it's a road match, and you know, you have to go there and give it your all, and hopefully we'll come out with a win this week after struggling a little bit this last weekend. So.
And women's tennis began the season strong with a 6-1 win over Hastings College.
Yeah, a good start to the season for the women's tennis team. Hastings is one of those teams that traditionally kind of serves as one of our first matches of the year. It's nice that they always agree to play us there right out of the gates. And so good result for our tennis team. 6-1 the result. If people aren't quite used to the new format in tennis this year, it's moved to a 7-point format for the final score because they're now just bringing the doubles matches down to counting as 1 point. So if your team wins 2 of 3 or all 3 doubles matches, you get 1 team point. So that's why if some people were confused by that score when they saw it, if that have followed our tennis program, that would usually maybe be 8-1 or 7-2 or whatever. That's why that's 6-1 this year. So they've actually just went to a 7-point format overall. So.
And then the women will have 2 consecutive Colorado matches this weekend.
Yeah, they got some RMAC opponents to take on this weekend. That's our former conference from back before we were in the MIAA. But it's traditionally a pretty solid tennis conference, and our ladies have had some success against the teams they go out there and play every year. So we go out to Pueblo. It's kind of been a tradition almost, I think, for a good 5, 6, 7 years now that they go out there and play some of these matches against that Division II competition to kind of find out where they are at before they go away for the winter time and then eventually come back in the spring and play their MIAA schedule. So.
And lastly, FHSU football had a devastating loss against Missouri Western on Thursday, falling to the Griffins 13-23.
Yep.
However, the Tigers look to capitalize on a second home win of the season as they take on Washburn on Saturday, and both teams are actually 1-1 right now.
Yeah, it was a devastating loss for our football team against Missouri Western. But unfortunately, I think a lot of that result was, quite honestly, self-inflicted. You know, we just didn't play very well, made a lot of mistakes in the crucial moments, too. We'd get the ball inside the red zone, had plenty of opportunities to score, and we'd find a way to just kind of shoot ourselves in the foot every time. And you can't do that in the MIAA. I don't care what opponent you're playing. Almost everybody in this conference is, you know, gonna give you a good shot. And if you don't play well, you know, any given day, it doesn't matter if you have a top 10 ranking in front of you. This conference is solid top to bottom, and you got to show up with max effort every time. And they've got some things to work on, obviously, this week if we're going to maintain a national ranking. Today we just saw that they moved down to number 17 in the poll. So obviously a significant slide in the poll, but that's kind of expected after you lose to an unranked team. And if they want to stay in those rankings, we're just going to have to get on a run again and see where it goes from here. But obviously the MIAA has 4 teams in the top 25 right now, so that just shows you the strength as a conference, and even one of our unranked teams can jump up and bite you on a given day. So, but yeah, going into this week, Washburn, another solid opponent. They have seemed to give us fits in years past. I know last year, if I'm remembering right, I think we were down 10 points at halftime to them here on our home field. And we just, fortunately got on a roll in the second half offensively, and our defense just flat out shut them down. But, that's another team that if we don't do the little things right and do the things that we got to do to win the ball game, it could be another long Saturday for us. So I know the coach and the players are probably going to work hard this week to get prepared for that game, and hopefully we won't stub our toe again, and hopefully we can get some momentum built back up, and as we go along in the season, hopefully we'll still be up there in the mix to maybe get a chance at getting another MIAA title.
Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Yep.
Those are the results of the week and the matchups coming up. When we return, the assistant athletic director will be sitting with me to talk more about this Saturday's matchup.
Five, 4, 3, 2, take it.
The Tiger Media Network is Fort Hays State University's independent student media organization. It's a student employment opportunity where you can work for either the news side or the sports side. So you can be on live sports production, which produces all of the live sports broadcasts that we do, or you could be on the news side and do news stories covering things on campus, so presidential announcements, student government association. We bring that news to the student community and the Hays community as well.
You don't realize how much Fort Hays State has to offer until you're here.
I mean, it is definitely, this is a land of opportunity here.
I just got back from the MIAA tournament in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, where we worked with other production crews, including Pitt State and Central Missouri. And it's a great time. I've gone there the last couple of years.
For me anyway, I get to do sports, which is what I love. And if live productions is where that's at, this is the perfect place to do it. We have almost everything that you could possibly imagine.
Tiger Media Network allows you the opportunity to take the skills you've learned and put them forward in a real world, real application setting that allows you to flourish and grow as a professional, and that will only help you and benefit you when you graduate and go into the real world workforce.
Welcome back to This Week in Athletics. Sitting with me now is FHSU Assistant Athletic Director Matt Cook. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about the theme for Saturday's football game at Lewis Field and what is to come for halftime.
Sure. So this Saturday, we are going to do a blackout. So for all students, public, anybody, all the Fort Hays fans, we want you to put your black shirts on and come out. We don't do that, themes a lot, but we didn't really have a theme for this game. For the first game, it was kind of the kickoff classic, and we have homecoming and different things. So this game didn't really have a theme to go with. So we want to go blackout and just have everybody put their black shirts on and cheer on the Tigers. So that's going to be the plan for Saturday's football game. And we do kind of have a fun halftime promotion that we've come up with. We don't do stuff like this very often either, but we're going to be able to pick 10 contestants. It's going to be a random choice. We'll get some students. We'll get some fans out of the reserve side, some adults, just different age groups of kids, students, whatever. So 10 contestants. They each are going to get one throw with a Nerf football. And this company that we're doing this promotion with, they're sending us their Nerf footballs. So I don't have any for anybody to come test out or try. But it's one throw from 35 yards away, and you have to throw it through a car window. And if you make it without touching anything, it's got to go straight through, you will win $5,000. So 10 contestants, they each get one throw. If you make it 35 yards away through the car window, somebody's going to win $5,000. And then if multiple contestants make it, they'll split the prize. So kind of excited about it. I want to get the word out about that. We'll do a lot of stuff on social media leading up to the game. maybe even give out maybe have a few winners from social media, maybe from retweets or favorites about their promotion that will actually choose to come down at halftime and do the promotion. So I think it should be an exciting halftime.
Talk about some of the season-long promotions that you have in play.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. This is my 5th year here in this role as assistant athletic director, and one of my big jobs is to keep people engaged and involved throughout the game. So kind of when the players are done, when it's a break and the players are on the sideline or they're at halftime, I'm trying to get keep the crowd into it and do different things now with the video board that we haven't had in the past, and on-field promotions. So a lot of these stuff are sponsored too by different businesses in Hayes, which is a great thing. We get a lot of support. So some of the things that we're doing each game, if you didn't make it out to the first game, I know sometimes a Thursday night is tough to be at. It's a school night. So we hope to see a really big crowd this Saturday, especially playing Washburn, an in-state rival. So some of these promotions you'll see you can get involved with. We always have the McDonald's coin toss kid. So we always get a kid out there for the coin toss. You can sign up at the McDonald's beforehand. You have to do it about a week in advance to get signed up. So we always have that. But we're doing some stuff on the video board. We're going to do the Munch Fitness Flex Cam. So when you see the Flex Cam come on the video board, I want everybody to show your muscle, show off your guns. That's kind of the point of that one. So the Munch Fitness Flex Cam. We have the Ameriprise Financial Kiss Cam. And I was kind of nervous about the Kiss Cam, going into that first game, but I thought actually it went really well. I think that one turned out pretty well and was fun. We have what we call the Billy Sims field goal kick. That's kind of a 2-part promo, but in the first quarter we'll throw out some Billy Sims footballs, some mini footballs. And if you get the lucky football that has the number 20 written in Sharpie on it, you get to come out later in the game and kick a field goal. And you can choose if you want to kick from 10 yards away, 20 yards away, 30 yards away, 40 yards away. And if it's 10 yards away and you make it, it's $100 for you and for Fort Hays Athletics. If you kick from 20 yards away, it's $200 both ways, and so on. 30, $300, and 40 is $400. So kind of a fun promotion. I know we had at least one person make the kick last year. So far this year we're 0-1, but we have 5 more shots at it. The Horizon Appliance Pass for Cash. We have one contestant that comes out. 10-yard throw. There's 3 different holes cut out in the trailer, and if you make it through one of those holes, it's worth a different money amount. So kind of a fun little promo there. A new one this year, the Precision Valley Chip Shot. You actually get to use a kid's iron, so it's a little bit shorter than what you normally would hit with, and you're trying to hit these little Callaway practice balls through the uprights. So you start, your first shot's from the 10. If you make that, you get 5 free rounds of mini golf to Precision Valley. We back you up to the 15. If you make that, you get 5 free rounds of mini golf and 5 buckets of balls. And then we back you up to the 20. If you make that, you get the 5 rounds of mini golf, 5 buckets of balls, and $25 gift card to Precision Valley. So kind of a fun little prize there. We do the Next Tech Wireless fan of the game. We get them down on the field and on the video board. Last week, it just so happened, it was after that huge punt, the huge call on that punt return, and everybody, the fans were getting after it and booing the officials, and I go out in the field with this little kid, and everybody's booing it first, but we turned it around into cheers shortly after that, so they cheered on the Next Tech Wireless fan of the game. We recognize our tailgate group of the game early, it's early in the second quarter, so we're out there searching the parking lots during the tailgating. We're looking for that group that's just having a great time. They have a bunch of people. We're going to pick them as the tailgate group of the game, and that's sponsored by Eagle. Quick note on the tailgating, Saturday's game starts at 7, so the parking lot will open up 4 hours before at 3 o'clock. So our tailgate spots this year are sold out, our reserve spots. There's still spots in that lot that are first come, first serve, but the reserve spots with numbers in them are sold out, which is awesome. We sold about 100 last year, so we sold 168 this year. Wow. So the tailgating for that first Thursday night game was awesome, and I think it'll be even better this game on a Saturday. So I'm excited to see how that goes. So that lot opens up 4 hours before, and we'll come out around an hour before kickoff to look for that tailgate group of the game. And then the last thing I have for Saturday's game is it is Family Day. So it's the Fort Hays Family Day. So there's going to be a lot of, I think, over between 200 to 250 family members of Fort Hays students that'll be attending this game, probably maybe the only game they come to all year. So I want to make it exciting for them, and hopefully, I'm sure it'll be a good game. And I just want, if anybody sees them out and around. You know, if they have any questions, if they don't know if they know where they're going, if you can help them out, it'd be great. So we're happy to have Family Day on campus this weekend.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you for tuning in to This Week in Tiger Athletics. Tune in next week and stay up to date in Tiger Athletics.